So greetings, everyone. Welcome to the 172nd session of the online Optom Learning Series, OOLS. And for today's session, we have with us not one, but two speakers with us. We have Jissa James and also Junu Shrestha. Let me go and introduce formally one by one. So Jissa is the knowledge manager at the International Agency for Prevention of Blindness, which is the IPAO. Her core interests include developing educational programs and partnership building to effective changes. She's a wealth of experience in leading knowledge programs for over 12 years, over a decade in India, as the general manager for the professional development at the India Vision Institute. She was also instrumental in developing over 200 multidimensional and diverse eye health professional development programs, which benefited the eye care professionals as well as the organizations across India. She has also put her foot in optometry education. She has been an educator in India, and she holds a bachelor's degree in optometry with additional certifications in writing the science from Stanford University, which is an online course, and global blindness planning and managing eye care services from the London School of Hygiene and Topical Medicines. Welcome, Jissa.
Thank you, Fakhruddin.
And to join Jissa, we have Junu Shrestha. Junu is the Policy and Advocacy Manager at the International Agency of Prevention of Blindness. She holds a MSc in Health Policy Planning and Financial Graduate from the London School of Hygiene and Topical Medicine and London School of Economics and Political Science. She is also an awardee of the prestigious UK Government Scholarship and has been an optometrist with a public health focus from Nepal, joining us from Kathmandu, with a lot of experience over 7 years into clinical post as well as into managerial experience in eye health care. So welcome, Junu, onto our platform again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Fakhruddin.
Yeah. So Jissa and Junu are going to take us through, the 2030 Insight, the call for action, which is by the International Association or Agency for Prevention of Blindness, which is the IAPB, and share their thoughts with us. Just before I leave the screen time to both of them, please be reminded that there are certain polls which, we would need your inputs on, and those polls will be, run on Slido. So I would encourage if you could prepare your handphones or mobile devices, and, they will guide us through how to participate in the poll. So welcome both of you onto the platform, and let me just leave the screen time to you now.
Thank you, Fakhruddin. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. We are not exactly sure wherever you're joining from, but we do have a question coming up. And thanks very much for your participation today in advance. I would like to start with a little bit of introduction and info about International Agency for Prevention of Blindness. What is it that we are trying to do? Who are we? And then we have some polls, and we will also give you a global picture on the eye health scenario, following which we get into the 2030 Insight strategy and describe and talk you through about the priorities for the decade and what is it that we can do as a profession connected with eye health for achieving avoidable blindness, preventing avoidable blindness by end of the decade. So IAPB is the overarching alliance for the global eye health sector. We have more than 150 organizations as members and who work in over 100 countries. What we are looking at is a world in which everyone has access to best possible standard of eye health, where no one is needlessly visually impaired, and where those with irreparable vision loss achieve their full potential. We have NGOs, we have universities and research centers, we have professional bodies, we have private sector. Everyone is a member of IAPB. So what are our key priorities? We work majorly around 5 areas. The first one is global advocacy, and our objective is to raise the profile of eye care with key international institutions so that it receives the attention and resources needed to achieve universal access to eye health. The second priority is on knowledge. We underpin and we make sure that all our activities has authoritative data and information, and we help to enable access to up-to-date knowledge, information, and best practice. We encourage everyone to love their eyes through global campaigns, and some of you might have taken part in Love Your Eyes, the World Sight Day initiative that we started from last year. So the objective is that we have to raise the profile of eye health and educate the public, governments, and world leaders about eye health and how it is important to achieve the sustainable development goals, and that it deserves and it gets the attention and the focus it needs and deserves. The fourth priority is strengthening the network. We support active partnership building both between members and with other key sectors to tackle the barriers to delivering eye care for all. Providing services is the next priority, where we try and provide high quality, economically viable services which add value to the members. And with that, we are going to start our first poll, and please keep your mobile phones ready. And what we want to know is, which city and country are you joining us today?
So yeah, we are getting some responses there.
Malaysia, obviously, is picking up.
Yeah, the one you see, Ipoh, is also a part of is a city or a state in Malaysia as well, and we have
from India.
Good.
Well, I'm joining today from Bangalore.
Right.
Philippines.
Yeah, somebody is also on the chat from Nepal. So
Awesome.
That's
welcome,
great.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So I'm going to move to the next question in the poll. And what we want to know is, have you heard about 2030 Insight before this presentation?
Okay, so people are also putting up on the chat, and
Right.
yeah, that's great. Thank you for participating. But
yes, wow, that makes our job easier today.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. So most of you might know this, but it's probably important to just understand what are we trying to solve. 90% of vision loss is preventable or treatable. And we are looking at close to 100 million people who need cataract surgery, 161 million people who need spectacles to see at distance, and about 510 million people who need spectacles to see at near. Now, if you look at the numbers and how it has been advancing from 1990, the past decade, to 2020 and 2050, it is quite alarming. And without interventions, we are probably looking at close to 1.8 billion people affected with one or the other sort of vision loss by 2050. And in 2020, the number is like 1.1 billion people. And the primary causes, as you know, the suspect are uncorrected refractive error, close to 671 million people, cataract, another 100 million, glaucoma, 8 million, ARMD contributes to another 8 million, diabetic retinopathy, 4 million. There are millions more living with conditions that need routine eye care services to prevent or delay vision loss. We extracted a little further into South Asia to see what the numbers look like. So without interventions, we are looking at 518 million people by 2050. And among them, 276 are women and 241 million are men. And it is also worthwhile to understand that 64% of all people with vision loss live in South Asia, Southeast Asia, and Oceania. And if you take South Asia in particular, which contributes to 1.8 billion people, that's like 22% of the world's population and 30% of the world's vision loss. All these data are available in IAPB's Vision Atlas. So please do take time to visit the Vision Atlas and understand more about the data, the explanations, and the evidence. This is powered by the data from Vision Loss Expert Group, and the sponsors include Bayer, Sightsavers, Allergan, Fred Hollow, CBM, and Seva. With that, I would like to launch another poll. What, according to you, was the top headline regarding global eye health in 2021? Anything that crosses your mind. It could be a major achievement, it could be a problem, it could be a challenge that you might have come across, but something COVID. Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, it's something which is the never-ending
Yes.
COVID, right? Okay.
Well, that helped us in a way to connect more over online platforms and work together much more effectively in a way. Myopia progression, yes. Myopia boom, conjunctivitis. Myopia, yes. Are there any achievements that you would like to point to?
Yeah, so myopia is taking the lead, it looks like.
Yes.
Okay.
Numerous studies, position papers, alliances coming across myopia.
Yep.
Black fungus, that's a different one from the list.
Laziness, I see that small laziness as well.
Yeah.
People are being truthful as well, so that's good.
Yes. Okay. So with that, I'm going to hand over the presentation to Junu, and she's going to take you through what we think are headlines or rather achievements in terms of global eye health advocacy and more into the 2030 Insight strategy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jissa. So let's look upon the headlines in the global eye health. So we are starting here from the World Report on Vision, which is the key report, the landmark document, which was published by World Health Organization in 2019. So the main objective or the main recommendation of this World Report on Vision was to achieve the universal access to eye care. So it calls for the urgent need for greater awareness, political will, and investment to strengthen eye care globally. The major recommendations from this World Report on Vision is to make eye care an integral part of universal health coverage and to implement the integrated people-centered eye care. Following that, in 2020, the World Health Assembly resolution was on integrated people-centered eye care. IEPB championed this WHA resolution in August 2020 and was led by Australia and Indonesia and co-sponsored by more than 40 countries. So this resolution, it again urges all the member states, all the countries to implement the recommendation of the World Report on Vision, and specifically for the making eye care an integral part of universal health coverage and implement the integrated people-centered eye care. So integrated people-centered eye care, it includes integrating eye care with the health system, with the 6 major components of the health system, like financing, health information, human resources, service delivery, and also bringing the services closer to the people and communities. Similarly, the next major headline in global eye health is the Lancet Global Health Commission on Global Eye Health. So as Jissa said, that there are a lot of studies coming on, alliances and reports coming on. This Lancet Global Health Commission on Global Eye Health is a highly esteemed peer-reviewed report, so which was co-authored by 73 leading experts from 25 countries. And this has set out the path for eye health beyond 2020 for a world without avoidable sight loss. So when you go through this Lancet Global Health Commission on Global Eye Health, so you'll be able to see also about the eye health anatomy, physiology, the visual systems, common eye conditions, the history of global eye health, how eye health links with the other sustainable development goals, similarly the burden and magnitude of the eye conditions from different countries all over the world. Likewise, the implementation of the integrated people-centered eye care, human resources, financing, and so link is with socioeconomic development issues. So this is a very comprehensive report on eye health. So the next one is the UNJ, the United Nations General Assembly resolution. In April, I skipped one. The World Health Assembly resolution in 2021, following the 2020 resolution on integrated people-centered eye care. The next year, the same World Health Assembly resolution adopted 2 global targets to monitor the implementation of the integrated people-centered eye care in the countries. And the 2 global targets for 2030 were a 40 percentage point increase in the effective coverage of refractive error, and a 30 percentage point increase in the effective coverage of cataract surgery. So I think we all know that cataract and refractive error are the 2 major causes of avoidable blindness all over the world. And the UN General Assembly resolution 8 months ago, on July 2021, we successfully championed Vision for Everyone, accelerating action to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. So it was the first ever UN General Assembly resolution on vision. This resolution, it sets a target for eye care for all by 2030, with countries set to ensure full access to eye care services for their population and to support global efforts to make eye care part of the nation's journey to achieving Sustainable Development Goals. So we are here like never before at the right point and at the right time. So let's see how the eye health links with other sustainable development goals. So there are 17 sustainable development goals, and so eye health, it is linked directly or indirectly with achievement of all the goals. But basically, let's look at some of the direct linkage of eye health into the sustainable development goals. The first one, which is no poverty. So studies shows that 90% of the vision loss, that is vision impairment and blindness, is in low and middle income countries. Similarly, the eye health is also linked with the second one, which is zero hunger. So free high quality cataract surgery can increase the household income, and this directly is linked with reducing the hunger in the families. And eye health, so I think I shouldn't explain more on how eye health links with good health and well-being and quality of life. Poor eye health increases the risk of mortality up to 2.6 times. This shows that the people who have vision impairment and blindness are at high risk of dying also. Eye health is directly linked with quality education. It's also linked with gender equality, where 12% of more women are likely to have the vision loss than the male. Similarly, it's linked with the Sustainable Development Goal 8, that is the inclusive economic growth, likewise reducing the inequalities. And then it's also related with the sustainable cities, the Sustainable Development Goal number 11. So the study shows that operated cataract, it reduces the chances of motor vehicle accident. So here's the data saying that unoperated cataract can increase the chance of motor vehicle accident by 2.5 times. The Right to Sight, Vision 2020 Right to Sight, which was a 20 years eye health strategy, which was unveiled by WHO in 1999, achieved a lot. But again, as Jissa said, that there's still a lot of people to treat, a lot of blindness still to avoid and to prevent. So 2030 Insight is the new sector strategy for all the eye health all over the world. So by 2030, this strategy has the mission of seeing the world where no one experience unnecessary or preventable sight loss and everyone can achieve their full potential. We want the world to have eye care and rehabilitation services which are accessible, inclusive, and affordable to everyone, everywhere, whenever they are needed. And similarly, we want to see a world where people understand the importance of caring their own eye health and demand access to services free from the weight of social stigma. So as a sector, as an eye health sector, also as an individual, we need to work harder to reach the hardest to reach, and equity must be at the heart of everything what we do. This 2030 Insight strategy has three major pillars, which are elevate, integrate, and activate. So elevating the eye health issues and embedding this vision issues with economic and social and development issues. So there is not enough understanding of the vital importance of eye health and its direct impact on wider social and economic issues. And unless we change this, we will never be able to unlock the commitment and financing that is needed to achieve our ambition. And as a result, more people will lose their sight and more people will be left behind. So what are we going to elevate and how are we going to do that? We have to unlock the political will and financing. We have to set new targets and hold government to account for reaching them. We have to leverage the school and education settings and embed eye health into the agenda of education. We have to also target the employers for increasing their work productivity. And we have to embrace the full sustainable development framework. Similarly, the second major pillar is integrate. So if we want people to help the people who need the eye health the most, we have to start putting the people at the center of their own health care. So how are we going to integrate eye health? We have to push for inclusion of eye health in universal health coverage. So we have to deliver the integrated people-centered eye care. We have to train and develop a diverse and resilient workforce, and then embrace the technological solutions. For this, we need a holistic, integrated approach where eye care is treated as an essential element within wider healthcare services and is universally available to everyone. We also need to ensure that there is integration within and between the different eye care professions, also within the health services and also beyond other services like education, labor sector, gender, etc. The third pillar is activate. So this is a driving patient, consumer, and driving market chains. Almost every person in their lifetime will have some vision problem and will seek the vision care at some point in their life. It is a universal issue, and we must activate universal demand. We need to educate and empower people to force change by making people more aware of what they can do to look after their own eyes. We need to, so for activating, we need to campaign on a new level. And we have to tackle the negative stereotyping and then build public-private partnership and create the right regulatory environment. So here I remember, so how do we tackle negative stereotyping? There was a story of a girl child called Lori Moore, who reported to the Disney CEO that no any Disney princess wore spectacles. So that made her feel that she is not beautiful enough. And then she complained to the Disney CEOs asking that, so a girl who wears spectacle isn't beautiful enough, because the princess doesn't wear spectacles. And with this strong message, the Disney CEO, after 3 years of getting that letter from Lori Moore, he made a new series of Disney movie with a princess wearing spectacles. And I'm pretty sure that now you have seen some of the Disney movies maybe, or if not, you will be seeing it, Googling or exploring it now. So this is also a campaign of tackling the negative stereotyping in the community. Yeah, with this, so we have again come up to the next poll. So here at the start of the presentation, you were asked that in which area or where are you involved in currently? So which of the 3 pillars of 2030 Insight aligns with your work profile?
We have almost an equal distribution between, there you go.
Yeah.
Great, 67%. Wonderful.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, people are also involved in Activate. They are involved in awareing the consumers, driving the market, involved into campaigns. Still, we can see a good number in Integrate.
Yep.
Yeah, great. So these all pillars are interconnected with each other. So there is a good proportion of people who perceives that their work align with Integrate. Yeah, with here, I'll again hand over to my colleague Jissa.
Thank you, Junu. Thanks everyone for your response. I would like to take you through quickly into what is in store for future and what are the 10 priorities that has been identified with the strategy plan. And I'll go through each one. The first one is develop leadership, and there is no question about it. We must develop leadership at a country and local level, and we must be a stronger voice, not just for eye health, but for social justice and equity. We need to talk beyond eye health, and we need people to do that. The second priority is how do we advocate differently? We have a solid track record in advocacy, and you were part of that journey through Vision 2020 or through any of the advocacy steps that you have taken, through the services that you have offered, and we have achieved so much. But we now need to build on this for the next decade and recognize that we must advocate for different things with different audiences. And this will be from regulatory change around taxes through to incorporating prevention and promotion into national education plans, into how we talk with other sectors and try and promote eye health as a social, developmental, and economic issue. The next priority is to secure new forms of funding. Well, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, and it is not just enough to have ideas and projects that we want to run, but we need funding for it. And for that, we will require us to build on existing networks as well as foster new relationships with major donors. The next priority is embrace technological solutions. It's quite interesting to see how the world has come together during the COVID, could be one example. I mean, there are so many solutions that we came up with. Teleoptometry, teleophthalmology, all speaks to it. And what that means is we need technology in our service delivery models, and we need to develop it further as a means to assess and accredit technology, and then also to ensure that there is constant focus on those technologies which will help improve access. The fifth in the priority list is strengthen partnerships with the private sector. We cannot do this alone. We cannot do this just with governments or the public sector. We need everyone to act their part. And what does that mean? We need to emphasize more on partnership and a focus on using complementary skills and expertise. This is particularly true in case of refractive error, where a new coalition between NGOs, social enterprises, the corporate and private sectors is exploring how to work together to scale up the delivery of refractive error services globally. And there are so many examples about it. The next in the priority list is creating new allies. It speaks to the other priorities, but if we want more integrated eye health and more integration within health systems, we have to reflect that in our ways of working from the center. And we can think about it from even from a very individual perspective in the practices that we do, in the education that we forward to our students, etc., etc. We need to think beyond the individual, beyond the patient who's sitting in front of you, and beyond the organization we work for. The next is developing a competent workforce. Well, we have a lot of work to do. We need to reach a lot more people, and we need new systems and new models of care in place. So, education and training for eye care and allied health professionals should adopt the World Health Organization's IPEC approach in their curriculum, which focuses on developing and maintaining skills in addition to medical knowledge of diseases. The broader eye care sector also needs to be equipped with the leadership skills to drive and implement the strategy at a national level. Moving on, the next is we need to prove our case. How do we speak about eye health, and how can we convince the person sitting next to you that it is important? This starts from the patients to their caretakers in terms of continuing the care or in terms of just using the glasses. And it could be at a higher level when you're convincing your organization or your governments as well. What do we need to do? We must continue to develop the research and evidence base to both support our case and improve the quality and the delivery of what we do. We need better systems to understand the distribution of disease, service use, and impact. We also need to identify the research needed to support implementation while influencing funders at global, national, and national level to ensure that the right research is commissioned. It also speaks to the next priority, which is improving the accountability. We also need monitoring and evaluation in place. So we need a fuller set of indicators. Junu was mentioning about the global targets on effective refractive error coverage and cataract. Along with that, we need another fuller set of indicators to monitor the implementation of IPEC. And if any one of you need to know more about it, please do keep visiting our IPV information channels. And it is currently being developed by the World Health Organization. In addition, we will need to develop our own targets and indicators, including setting standards, providing accreditation, sharing learning and successes, such as the creation of country-level scorecards and publication of comparative performance data. The last in the list is influence the widest audience. The Disney example is the best which we can think of right now. And obviously, we all do our own set of advocating for eye health and adopting treatment patterns. Well, just an hour ago, I was talking about just reading glasses. So we will need to develop the widest range of communication techniques suitable for multi-tiered audiences from global, regional, and national level, and again, down to the local and the community level. And that's where the change happens. And this will require experience, skills, and input from experts in everything from grassroots community mobilization to global digital campaigning. So with that, we are moving to the next poll. Among the 10 priorities that we spoke about right now, which is identified for acting on in the decade, which will be your top 3 picks?
Okay, so let's, I'm just the poll is active. Yeah, I'm just trying to see that.
Develop leadership, embrace technological solutions, secure new forms of funding, influencing the widest audience. It starts from home. Advocate differently, yes. Strengthen partnerships with private sector. Prove our case well. Every priority has some takers. Let's see what's winning at the top. Influence the widest audience. Develop leadership. Secure new forms of funding. Wow. Well, it's interesting to see that most of you chose influencing the widest audience as the topmost priority. And it speaks to the direction or the action that we need to take for the decade. Wonderful. Well, I do hope each one of you will play the part and will try and work to influence the audience around you to access and continue caring for their eyes. Very interesting. Thank you, everyone. And we wanted to talk because we all come from an optometry background, and we wanted to talk a little further about where does optometry stand. So the global optometry, and this is from a report, this is where does optometry stand? So the global optometry, and this is from a report, this is based on the WCO data, and there could be updates in these numbers, so this is not conclusive. The number of optometrists stands close to 340,257, and the number of countries which reported in the study were 159. And yes, the definition of the profession varies between countries, so that is a limitation to this number. So please be mindful of that. And if you see, the high income countries has about 156 optometrists per million. Globally, that's like 18. And then Central Europe, Eastern Europe, and Central Asia is like 48 optometrists per million. North Africa and Middle East is 34. South Asia is 10 per million. Southeast Asia, East Asia, and Oceania contributes to 5 optometrists per million. Sub-Saharan Africa, 2. And Latin America and Caribbean, about 31 optometrists per million. So what do we want to tell you today? That everyone matters, everyone counts. And what we are looking at is not just training or the integration within different models of practice that may be more efficient, but what we are looking at is a perspective change, and the priorities we already discussed. So we need a public health perspective to our approach. We need to consider a view of the population, what is the need, and how can you provide an equitable service in terms of access as well as outcomes, thinking about the factors that will enable the patient to access the services and the sustainability of what you're trying to provide. Integration is key. We need to integrate with other mainstream services as well. We also need to be mindful of the quality and efficiency. Let us set an example to deliver high quality and also efficient services. We need to work on our workforce, which can address the diverse eye health needs, including specialty services and rehabilitation. And we know that there is a key need to provide local services at the doorstep of the patient, if that's possible. We need to work in partnership. It can no longer be in silos. We need to be working with and building teams, a range of professionals, and with partners outside eye care, and critically, community organizations to develop local solutions to local problems. We need people to advocate and influence, not just the governments, but at a very individual level as well. Of course, advocacy works with government, with medical providers, professional bodies, the local NGOs, etc. And remember that we have the direct experience in dealing with the patients and with the eye health. So let's talk from that authoritative point of view. And let's take that one step forward above everything, so that we are trying to ensure that no one is left behind by the end of the decade. And with that, we would like to close our presentation. And we have just one poll remaining. So let's quickly go back to that, which is, what is your one key takeaway from this presentation? And we really want to know this.
Right. So while people are just, putting up the poll and the votes there, let's just give them some time. I've also put it on the chat that, if you have any questions or comments, we would be happy to take some questions and comments. So please, put up on the chat as well, and keep answering the poll while we wait for some time.
3 pillars: awareness of eye care needs.
Right.
That's great to know. To advocate for 2030 insight. Wonderful. Please be informed that the 2030 insight strategy and description around the priorities, the pillars are available in the website. So you're more than welcome to go in there and explore further.
Right.
Awareness about eyesight, eye health linked to SDGs, the communication skills, advocacy for eye care. Well, we're so glad. Wonderful. And I guess with that, I'm going to close the poll.
Thank you so much, both of you, I think, from all of us at, sharing that, because it's really an important aspect when it comes to optometrists and as well as for students, because when they go out into practice really very soon, they should be aware of how they can play their role in the community to do part, not just doing just refractions and giving glasses, but there is more and more to optometry where it comes to public health as well as helping patients across the whole health sector, right? So thank you so much for sharing those thoughts with us.
Thanks, Fakhruddin. I think it was a great opportunity for us to meet all the participants here and well get to know a little more about Optometry online learning series.
Right. I'm going to keep that thunder for the end. This question is, I always tend to ask when it comes to public health oriented talks, right? So just putting that across. What would be that one key message, when it comes to putting optometrists and for students especially, which you would like to give on when they go into the practice world? What are those key words you think they should be doing and following in terms to align with all these goals for these international organizations and IPP's goals? So any keywords you want to share with us?
I'll go for awareness, because as optometry students, they graduate and then go to the community and go to the society for their practice. Their first point of contact will become the patient. So if you aware that patient, you are not only awareing the patient, but you are awareing his and her family and then the community. So I'll go for awareness. So you can go for awareing people regarding their eyesight, encouraging them to care about their vision. So that is going ultimately going to directly or indirectly achieve the goals of correcting refractive error and the managing eye care problems in the in your surrounding.
Awesome. Great. Anything to add, Jissa?
Well, I think very often there is a perception that public health is something that, well, this could be my individual opinion, and I might be biased as well, but it's not something that relates to to us in the way we practice or in the way we think. But I think public health is more related than anything else if you think about it from a practice point of view. It's not just 2 pair of eyes that you're looking at. You're looking at a person, you're looking at the community through the person, the families through the person, etc. So, and we could be that first point of contact for them to have to create that impact in their behavior, in the way they access services, etc. And it's not just the patient, but it's also about your chance to talk more, or give more emphasis to what eye health means in your organization or in whomever you meet further as well. So it starts with empathy, it starts with understanding eye health is important and communicating that further.
Right. So that's important, and we do know that our role is as clinicians, of course, is counseling. So
Yeah,
you did talk about in your presentation as well that eye health talks in the community starts at home. So telling your family, your friends about it
exactly.
in the first place, that makes a huge difference already, and then
Yeah,
coming to your patients, and you can slowly evolve in that sense. And
yes.
and I would go one step further just to share this thought that it would also give recognition to the profession as well if you start talking about it, right? So
Yes.
So exactly, as there was some response coming up saying myopia progression, and so all the one who manages this refractive error and myopia are we optometrists. So if so, we are in charge of correcting refractive error. If we are not talking, then who else would be talking about this?
Yeah.
right, and that should be something which we should probably take away. If nothing, if you want to do something, one step change tomorrow is start talking, right? And
Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
We want everyone to start talking, and it's not limited to your clinics or where you work, but it is wherever you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And coming back to that same point, Jissa, when you said about public health and it's not, seen well across, and you said you are biased. I think no. I think public health is really a neglected area to a lot of people. You're not biased. I would disagree to that, but a lot of people think that public health is to do with institutions. Public health is to do with hospital settings. It's nothing what I can do in public health if I am independent practitioner. They people do think like that, and I have heard this and known people like that. So any thoughts over that? I am an independent practitioner. I'm just gonna help patients to see and make money. I'm not nothing to do with public health when I'm an independent practitioner, when I'm working in a probably an optical setup. So any thoughts over that which can help us to change?
Well, every individual effort count, and that is getting added up to the public health eye health bank. Let's put it that way. So, talking very focused on individual practitioners who have their own clinics and all that. How do you expand your conversation beyond the clinics? It's not just about getting the people into your service, but can you talk to the medical setups or facilities around? Can you talk to the rehabilitation centers around? Can you talk to the local government setups around? Can you find out more about the not-for-profit organizations who works at the community level in your setting? Is there something that you can contribute there? Can you offer your services there? Can you offer your counseling there? So that small, tiny steps is every step that you take is adding on to reducing the numbers, or at least making someone informed. Well, then if that is closed and you want to do further, join the professional organizations, the professional associations, then start and make some time to actively contribute to how the systems are being set up. Then you can always think about collecting more evidence that supports the relation between eye health and how it is affecting the community. It is all adding up. So it will start with practice, it will go into evidence, then research, then it will go into partnerships and how do you establish that? And yeah, so that would be my take on it.
Wonderful. Yeah, every penny counts, right? When they say every
Yes.
penny counts. So it's, an individual counts. It's nothing to do with big organizations. Each person
Yeah.
as an individual is a contributor in whatever small or big way they can, right?
Yeah. So
Yes.
can I add a line here?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah, I absolutely agree what Jissa said. And so, as being a public health student myself, also, I would say that public health is a comprehensive field which includes all this prevention, promotion, and treatment, curative, all these aspects of health. So, when you are looking at a patient, you are basically at the curative aspect of the health. But so when the patient is in front of you, you are doing the curative aspect. But so what are the driving forces? What are the driving factors that brings the patient to your clinic? So if you recognize those factors, the factors behind the patient, what takes him to your clinic, then you can treat the patient more in a better way. The compliance will be more better. For example, if you're treating an amblyopic child and you are asking them to have an occlusion in their eye or like come to the vision therapy. So if the patient is living very far away, if the patient has other issues, so can't access the vision clinics because the student is very busy in school. So there's all factors. If you count those factors, then you are into public health. You are looking through the lens of the eyes of the patient to the whole of the society and family. And once you are dealing with the society and family, so I guess all optometrists, we are into public health in one way or other. Thanks.
Wonderfully put. Thank you, Junu, for that. Parting words. It's really important for us to understand, and I hope to the attendees who are listening to us today and those who will be later watching it on YouTube do get some very insightful take-home messages from the presentation we had today. So thank you so much, first of all, both of you, for sharing your time. I see some messages on the chat about the session was clear and beautiful, wonderful session. So thank you so much. I'm echoing those words once again and thanking you on all of us on our behalf.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Fakruddin, again for the opportunity.
Most welcome. So just to answer your question, Jissa, on OOLS is an educational program which was started 2 years back, and it's the right time for you to ask me this question, unplanned question, because we are going to celebrate 2 years on next week on the 1st of April 2022. We started on 1st April 2020. And we are gonna have our second birthday, if I may put that way, on the 1st of April. And we have achieved a lot doing this session. And please do tune in onto our social media channels as well as onto the emails. We'll be sharing more details about what we have achieved and what are our future plans to help the community and to help all optometrists and eye care professionals around the globe.
Of course, we are in it together. So.
Right.
Thank you so much, Fakruddin, for this platform, and thank you all the listeners who listen to the very new topic. Besides those all clinical things, we talked today about the new thing to you, and thanks for listening to us.
Yes, most welcome. Since, as I was mentioning, we do have a special session on the 2nd of April to celebrate our birthday, the second birthday. So we planned it on the 2nd of April. We will also be sharing the details onto the emails and to our social media. And from next month onwards, we are going to have 2 sessions per month to make sure that we have all of you joined in together. So we have 2 to 3 sessions a month, alternating weeks. Stay tuned again onto all our websites, social media to get more of the updates. Until then, take care, be safe, and I hope to see you in the next session. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Junu. Thanks, Jissa.